Food and luxury items. This is part 5 on how to build your bug out bag. If you haven't seen the other videos, you should probably go back and check those out first. If you have, stay tuned. We're going to get this started. Now, I'm sure at least some of you by now might be saying, "Hey Dave, what do you keep in your pack for food?" Well, the long answer is, I don't. The short answer is, generally MREs. I don't, and we'll try to make this as quick as possible. My camp pack is part of a system. I don't keep everything in my camp pack. I don't want to keep my food in there for a couple of reasons. One, I like to keep this packed and ready to go. It's a little hard to do if I've got a bunch of food in there that I haven't shifted out in however long it's been, which generally isn't a problem because I use this constantly. I'm always out in the woods doing something or other. Even if I'm not filming, I get out because I enjoy it, and I'll go nuts if I don't. But in addition to the pack, I have web gear, which is a nice complement to the pack. 82 pattern web gear, 82 pattern rucksack. But I also have saddlebags, I guess. Leg drop pouches. I'm not 100% sure. But I always keep coffee because it's okay to act like a savage sometimes, but we don't have to be savages. Coffee's good. MREs, various different kinds on the menu. And then freeze-dried food, which I will probably be moving to freeze-dried food exclusively when the MREs are used up. For a couple of reasons. You can carry more meals for way less weight, and MREs are actually kind of getting hard to come by these days. And, well, demand goes up, price goes up, so not really wanting to spend a ton of money if I don't have to. But yeah, I can carry a lot more freeze-dried meals to extend my my ability to feed myself for a lot longer. I also have some portable soup or bouillon cubes. Super useful. If you have any kind of knowledge about wild edibles and whatnot, you could make these things extend a long time too. I also have a spice kit, which it tends to change here and there. I always have salt, pepper. I generally have lemon pepper, and then onion powder. Sometimes some are savory, sometimes dill weed, sometimes steak spice. I kind of change it around here and there, just whenever I feel like it. But a decent spice kit, honestly, it's a bit of space. It is a little bit of weight, but it makes meals on the camp trips just so much better. You don't want to get bored of the food that you're eating. But if I had to recommend one, they're not necessarily as tasty as MREs, but I would say probably go with the freeze-dried foods whenever possible, because I've got 6 or so MREs in there, which is generally 6 days worth of food. I could probably keep a month worth of freeze-dried food in here for half the weight. So I'm probably moving to those. Now, moving on to, comfort items, more luxury items. Once again, I'm going to mention, that I carry coffee. I also have some tea around here somewhere. I really like the chai tea, and the chocolate chai has been something that I've been kind of carrying around a lot lately. President's Choice chocolate chai is awesome. And it is totally worth the space and or weight. Even though it's not a lot, it's totally worth it. Okay? Just feeling like a human being instead of a wild animal sometimes is definitely very, very helpful. Also, the caffeine just helps to sort of helps me to maintain awareness and, kind of keeps me on track of what I'm doing and whatnot, especially if I've been traveling in some of the situations. Maybe I'll get into the canoe and I'll go so far and I'll camp for the night, and I'll go so far and I'll camp for the night, and then I'll hike around a little bit and kind of whatever. The coffee and the tea just generally helps to keep me going, and it is definitely something that you should probably think about. So I had to switch to a different camera because I'm having some equipment difficulties going on right now, but hopefully the quality hasn't changed too much. Okay, so what were we about to talk about? Hunting and fishing capabilities. Your camp pack should have at least a relatively passable fishing kit. It doesn't have to be anything super awesome, but it should have at least the ability to get you some food. And I mean, if you're an outdoors person, you probably would know the kinds of fish that you can expect to find in the area that you're going to be in, or the area that you are, and you might want to cater some lures to those specific kinds of fish just to boost your chances of getting a meal. Now, that being said, bringing food into the woods, as I've already established, is awesome. It's great. It's something that you should do. But let's say you're about ready to pack up your camp. You've eaten up all your food. You've used up whatever resources. You're about to go, and you sprain your ankle. You injure yourself in some way that's going to make it pretty much impossible for you to leave and bring all your gear with you. All the money that you spend on it, you're not necessarily going to want to just leave it there. You're probably going to have some way to call for help, but maybe you might have to spend another night, maybe a couple of nights. Maybe you're sort of the situation where I was in, where my family knew more or less where I was, but it would take them a while to get to me because I was in the sticks, and it's going to take a while for somebody to come and get you out of that situation. Now, having the ability to get food through hunting, fishing, snaring, that kind of thing, is always a good idea, and it doesn't take up a lot of space, doesn't add a lot of weight, so it's something that you should have somewhere in your pouch, in your bag, in a pouch that maybe you don't often get into very, very much. Just something to help you to get food. That's always a good idea. Now, anybody who's watched my videos can pretty much tell you with a level of certainty that I am not a big fan of pooping in the woods. I'm really not. I do it a lot, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a big fan of it. Now, a lot of people, I've noticed, they pack up a bunch of toilet paper and they just, oh, I took this roll of toilet paper and I kind of squashed it down a little bit and I stuck it in a sandwich bag and away we go, we're fine. Well, how long does a roll of toilet paper really last in your house? How long do you think you're going to be in the woods for? I mean, men can probably make a roll of toilet paper last 3 days, 5 days. In my experience, a lot of women can't. Not complaining, just explaining. Baby wipes or wet wipes is a much, much better way to go. Now, let me see. This is 40 pieces. And, I mean, not to get, not meaning to overshare, but I can generally, when it comes time to do the paperwork, I can generally do it in 2 or 3 of these, more or less, just fine. So 40 per package, 2 or 3 packages, not really, using up that much space, and it'll last a good long time. That is not necessarily a long-term solution, however. So when it comes to sanitation, personal hygiene type stuff, I try to keep it in a yellow bag or container of some kind. It's just sort of something that I've been kind of working on. Food goes into green, so at no point ever does yellow get anywhere near green or blue, which is my first aid. So that's kind of how I've been sort of working some of that in. This is a portable bowl, basically. I would go to my water source and gather up some water and take it over to my toilet area. I would then clean myself off using the cloths and the water. When I'm done, I take the water well away from my camp area, well away from my water source, all of that kind of jazz. Generally, where I would have my toilet area, I would dump the water out, and then I would clean everything and hang it up somewhere near my toilet area. Let it dry out. Let it more or less be as sanitary as possible, and it's ready for the next time I need to use it. The last thing you want to do is contaminate your campsite, your water source, your whatever, and I mean, bush hygiene is very important, especially in a long-term situation. So, I could have swore I did find a smaller. This is the smallest yellow dry bag that I could get at the time. I'm pretty sure I found another one, and for some reason, I guess I just haven't made the switch over yet. But I mean, thankfully, I actually haven't had to use this yet, so everything is still clean and sanitary and whatever. I've never run out of baby wipes while I was camping out. But, I mean, it does take up a bit of space. It doesn't weigh very much, but it is relatively important. You want to stay sanitary as much as possible in a long-term wilderness living situation. Now, lastly is entertainment. A lot of people who find themselves in a survival situation or just, in a bad situation that might take them a little while to get out of, would benefit quite a lot by something to just take their mind off of their situation just for a little while and sort of, calm down and just reassess and reboot. I'm not sure what. Yes, I am. Okay. In my pack, I have 2 books and a deck of cards. That's more or less, that's kind of my entertainment for when I'm out in the field. In the event that maybe my phone has been damaged or destroyed or lost, or it's either out of power and recharging somewhere, can't charge it, or I'm in such a bad situation that I want to conserve my battery power on my cell phone as much as possible. Not being able to jump on YouTube or Facebook or whatever to entertain myself, I have the SAS Survival Guide. Not only is it entertainment, it's just full of useful information that I can kind of refresh myself on if I'm in that kind of bad kind of thing. So just, it doesn't entirely take my mind off of it, but it gives me a little bit of reassurance, and a little reassurance goes a long way. I also have The Art of War. Just a small pocket edition of The Art of War by Sun Tzu. It's an interesting read. I've actually read this twice, and I don't know. I like it. A lot of people like to carry around, Bibles and whatnot, various other books and whatever. Whatever you like, whatever you think. Now, my deck of cards is a plastic, waterproof. It's actually kind of old. I got these in a gift case of Gibson's Finest. So these are Gibson's Finest. Was it Canadian whiskey? Yeah, Canadian whiskey, Canadian. Playing cards. I don't really know how much waterproof playing cards actually cost, but I don't imagine that they're all that expensive, especially if they were just giving them away with the booze. So definitely something to kind of pass the time and help to take your mind off of whatever you're doing, especially if you've got a couple of people. If you're there with a friend, or if you, kind of whatever, you get into a game of poker or euchre or whatever. So entertainment is something that is often overlooked and shouldn't be, because, as I said, a little reassurance can go a long way, and just taking your mind off of things and de-stressing for a little while is definitely a good idea as well. So that is it for part 5. That is your food and comfort items or luxury items that you might want to give some consideration to, especially along the lines of the entertainment. That really can go a long way with mental health, as well as a relatively compact and decent spice kit of your favorite things, because that too is a morale booster as well. Food helps. Good food is better. So think about that. Digest that for a bit, and we'll see you in the next video, I hope. Until then, stay wild.